Hey, good morning. Nikki. Nikki Haley? Come here real quick. Let's have a conversation. Now, you and I are different in very many ways, but there are a few things that we do share in common. Number one, we both know what it's like to navigate a white world in brown skin. Number two, we both know what it's like to be on the receiving end of the disorder that is white's superiority. You speak about it often, citing the fact that you were a brown girl growing up in South Carolina and how you entered a pageant and they disqualified you because you weren't white enough or black enough to fit in. So you know that racism exists in this country because you've experienced it, you've said it, you've spoken about it. You even go by your middle name because it's more acceptable to white audiences than your first name. So you know that there is racism in this country. So why would you say this?
America is not a racist country.
Are you involved in a racist party?
No, we're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country.
Saying that America is not and has never been a racist country is either spin, willful ignorance, or a straight-up lie. As the governor of South Carolina, you of all people should know better. The racist laws of South Carolina help shape the racist laws of this country. For example, in 1661, Barbados created some of the harshest laws regarding the enslavement of African people. And in 1690, South Carolina took a look at that and said, hey, let's do that. So later that year, South Carolina passed the Act for the Better Ordering of Negroes. That act codified chattel slavery into South Carolina law. That act made it to where my ancestors needed written permission to be off a plantation. Otherwise, if white people caught us off the plantation without a written note, we would get branded on our face or on our body somewhere. They would split our nose in half, or whatever type of punishment tickled their fancy for that day. Those laws were upheld by the state, and those state laws were upheld by federal laws, making the whole system racist. But you knew this. In 1712, the state of Carolina passed a law stating that slavery was based on the condition of the mother, meaning anybody born from the womb of a black woman was automatically a slave. That includes the children of the white men who raped them. That was a law. That law was racist. But you knew that. You just chose to ignore it and lie about it. In that same bill, it says that any black person going down to Charleston can and should be whipped, especially if they partake in gambling or any type of wickedness. These are the laws that the state that you governed passed regarding people who look like me. But yet you say America was never a racist country. Yes, it is. You're just lying about it. And not only did you lie about it, but you went on to pass legislation that prevents the accurate teaching of history in your state because white people might be offended. Do you not see how that is racist? How you're preventing the accurate teaching of history as it happened in your state because white people might find it offensive to their slaveholding ancestors. Do you not see how that is racist? Fast forward to 1740, and South Carolina responds to the Stono Rebellion by passing the Negro Act, also known as the Bill for Better Ordering and Governing of Negroes and Other Slaves in this province. And that law laid out the legal framework for how people in slave states should govern the people they enslaved. That law made us legal non-entities. We couldn't testify against white people in court. And if we did, a white person's word weighed more than ours. That bill made it illegal for people like me to learn to read or write. In 1669, with the introduction of the Casual Killing Act, Virginia made it perfectly legal to kill an enslaved person as long as you killed them while they were resisting your correction. Which is why in 2024, corrections officers yell, "Stop resisting," before they kill people. Because they are immune from punishment as long as they killed someone for resisting their correction. You see how these laws passed way back then still affect us today? You see how that works? South Carolina was so racist that in 1860, after the election of Abraham Lincoln, the state feared that the United States of America would end chattel slavery as a way of life. So much so that South Carolina became the first state to secede, to leave the United States of America and form its own country with its own currency and its own constitution, a country whose bedrock was built on the perpetual enslavement of black people. And that's not me saying these things. That's Alexander Stephens, the vice president of the Confederacy. He said this in 1861. He says, "Our new government is founded upon exactly the opposite idea. Its foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world based upon this great physical, philosophical, and moral truth." South Carolina left the United States of America to join a new country whose bedrock, its foundations, were built on the perpetual enslavement of people who look like me. You can't sit there and tell me that this country isn't racist or that it has never been racist. Everything about this country has been racist since its beginning. Now, the Negro Act of 1740 stayed the law of the land in South Carolina until 1865. That's after you lost the Civil War. Which reminds me, what started the Civil War in the first place? Easy. Slavery. But Baseman, you say, that happened so long ago. Nobody's alive right now. Who did that? Okay, cool. Let's take a look at what's going on right now under your term as governor. While you were governor, Dylann Roof walked into a black church. He killed 9 innocent black people who were doing nothing more than having church, including a state senator he killed. A state senator and 8 innocent black people, he killed them in church. And your police officers took him to Burger King afterwards. That's what your police officers did. And you, as governor, you passed some legislation to get all the Confederate flags taken down. And that's a step. Yet you didn't pass any comprehensive hate crime laws. You didn't pass any laws regarding domestic terrorism in your state. Nor did you pass any laws regarding racism in your state. You just simply took down the flags. How'd that help? Honestly, just how did that help? Did that end the racial problem you have in South Carolina? No, it didn't. Because it's deeper than just a flag. Right now, you're being sued. Your state is being sued from gerrymandering districts, trying to water down the black vote. If America and your state is not racist, why are you systematically suppressing the black votes? Why are you suppressing the votes of black people in your state? If America is not racist, if your state is not racist, why are you doing these things in 2024? This isn't 1840. This isn't 1964. This is 2024. And you are being sued because of the racist practices of your state. Make that make sense. Now, maybe you didn't know those things were happening in your state and you were just ignorant to the fact that these are happening still in 2024. So let me help you out with some things. It's February 1st, the first day of my birth month and the first day of Black History Month. And for the next 20 some odd days, me and you gonna have a conversation and we're gonna discuss America's racist past, its present, and where we're going. All right? Happy Black History Month.